I want to talk just briefly about what it means when the housing authority partners with us and they're saying, what they're trying to prevent is this idea of evictions, right? And I'm going to sound a little preachy here, but I'll do it anyway. And this isn't so much for members, tenants in the housing authority as it is members of the public, because it's really important, I think, that we understand what eviction is, right? And why it's so forward thinking and important that a housing authority as a landlord, right, thinks about preventing that, right? So eviction is not something that just happens to families, right? Poor families or otherwise. It's not a moment in time or just a brief detour, right? It fundamentally changes the direction of a family, right? It places them on a much more difficult path than whatever one they were on before. And it invites in, and our social worker friends can tell us this, it invites in depression and illness, right? It weighs on us. It mandates families to move into housing conditions that are oftentimes deteriorating and dangerous. And that's often because of real or perceived threats of potential separation through entities like CYS, right? And it uproots communities, and we know that. So it is, again, I think, our duty and obligation to do whatever we can to protect these families and children from this really societal ill. And this partnership gives us the unique opportunity to do just that. And I again want to say that is not possible unless you have a Steve Fischer, a Mary, and the rest of the team recognizing the impact that has on families and doing what it takes to try and curb it. It's not to say that nobody's ever going to be evicted, right? It's not a perfect system that way. But if we can prevent it as best we can, I think that's so important for so many reasons. And it allows us to build on that stability to create a better future for our families and break some of that intergenerational housing insecurity that they've experienced. So just wanted to put that out.
Yeah, Jordan, I'm glad you went there to eviction. It's you can work with families for years and years and make some progress, and then suddenly eviction blows the whole thing up. It's not just a momentary traumatic thing to go through. It's actually a life-changing experience for a family that can leave them totally disillusioned and not ever want to try again. So what did we develop here? We, among all the things we do, we just do as a matter of course on a daily basis. Once the pandemic came along and nobody could be evicted, and so and fearing that people would view that as some kind of a safety net and that they wouldn't have to worry about their normal responsibilities, what we envisioned was that crisis was going to eventually end, and a lot of people were going to be on the chopping block for eviction. So a few years in advance of that, we started up the eviction prevention program. Who did we turn to? Marrea Walker-Smith. So hopefully, when the time came, we didn't have a rash of evictions to go through, because we're not the type of landlord that's whose goal is to evict at the first opportunity. Our first instinct is to save families from eviction, to avoid that. Families come to us in crisis, and we don't want to send them further into crisis after we've had them for a while. So, but I do thank you for just bringing up that word is important. Of course, there was a famous book written a few years ago under that title. So hopefully that brought a great awareness, to the general public that doesn't think about that word very often. But it's it's one of those things in life that everybody needs to avoid. It's not a temporary thing. It becomes a permanent thing, ingrained in your head that you carry through life, and your children inherit it, that went through it with you. There's so many ramifications, how they're going to wind up being treated in school, cast as different. It's just, well, we can do another whole show on that, right, Jordan?
We could indeed, we could indeed.
Again, Jordan, thank you. The eviction thing, as trite and corny as it might sound, it is called the Chester Housing Authority, not the Chester Eviction Authority. And it's because of services like these that eviction is less of a possibility, because it's all these things that strengthen families, make them stronger so that they can not only stay in housing, but move into better housing situations. And networking, as we already said, is crucial. It's how this housing authority has redefined housing. It's not just about giving you a roof over your head. It's about giving you the resources to do the things to have a better family.